Well, good morning, guys. Daniel here from Single Malt Jack, and welcome back for another episode. Today, we've got this lovely pork belly that we're going to be cooking this on the barbecue smoker. And I've also got this bottle of Woodford Reserve Double Oak. So, I'm going to be talking about this for a little bit, pairing the two together, and then giving you guys a bit of insight. So stick with us. So I'm going to try and do this as easily as possible today. I've got a bit of a cheat recipe up my sleeve. I've never tried it, but with the pork belly, as you can see here, what I've done is I've scored it, so in about 2 or 3 centimetre squares, so at 90 degrees, and then I'll just put olive oil, salt and pepper on it. So I'm hoping that's going to be really, really nice. What we want for the pork belly is for it to be crispy, so a really nice crispy skin, and then we also want it to be moist and juicy as well. So the way we're going to be doing that is really, really high temperature first, about 250 degrees, and we'll do that for about 40 minutes just to get it to crisp up, and then we're going to slow cook it on about 120, 130 degrees Celsius for the next 2 or 3 hours, and that should give it a nice moist flavour after that. I'll be talking a little bit later about this bourbon. Not usually a bourbon drinker, but it's recommendations from a few people, so I thought, you know, why not? I think these two will go together quite well in terms of the combination. And what I'm also going to prepare, as you can see here, is I've got a couple of onions, so I'm going to slice these up, or just chop them up into halves or quarters, and we'll put that in as well. I've got a couple of potatoes that we're going to put in whole and slow cook, and we'll just take the skin off those. And I've also got some apples. So this is essentially the lazy man's mashed potato and apple sauce. So I've never tried it before, but I'm hoping it's going to work out. Alright, so let's pop this hood and take a bit of a look. This pork belly has been cooking for about 50 minutes now, so crackling is starting to look really good. So I've just hit it with high heat. Looking down there, the coals are roaring hot. That was sitting on between sort of 250 and 300 degrees, so it was quite warm. That's been sitting there for about 50 minutes, so that's really just to get it nice and crispy. Now, got to do a bit of a juggling act, so I'm going to take this off if I can, and then what we're going to do is basically put this pork belly back on, just on the rack, okay? On the rack like that, and I'm going to keep these juices in there. Let's get rid of this tray. Okay, now I want to keep those pork juices and put these onions in. These will slow cook. Go all in there like that. Okay, now what I want to be doing is putting this tray under the pork belly. It's going to save all the juices from splashing down into the grill, and then it's also going to catch all those juices on those onions. and that's going to slow cook. So while I've reminded myself, I'm just going to close these vents almost all the way, because we want to basically take this down from what it was, 250 degrees, all the way down to about 120, 130. And that's not easy to do once the barbecue's at that heat. So that may take a little while to go down, but that's okay. The pork belly will crisp up a bit more in the meantime. Now what I've also got here, let's pop this up here. So I've also got some condiments. Now this is, I'm not great in the kitchen doing stuff on the stove and things like that. But what I've actually prepared here is I've got these 3 are whole apples, okay, that I've taken the skin off, and then I've also decored the apples, so taken the cores out of the apples. And then I've got 4 large potatoes here, which I've also peeled the skin off, and I've also put butter inside the potatoes and salt, okay. So I've never tried this before. I've done a few different variations, but look, I'm hoping the potatoes are going to turn out really, really good. They're going to be salted, buttered, and that's basically going to be my mashed potato. And then I'm hoping these apples, these red apples, are going to slow cook, okay, and they're just going to basically just turn to mush, and that's going to be our apple sauce. So that's it in theory. I'm just going to pop these up here on top of the tray. There goes the apples. There goes my mashed potato, and one more back there. Nice big barbecue, so I can fit it all on there. Got the onions at the bottom, that'll slow cook in the pig fat. Basically just want to keep this on for, look, probably going to be somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. So we just want to get it nice and juicy. We'll check it along the way, and then we're going to come back a bit later and do a bit of a taste test with this and the Woodford Reserve Bourbon that we have. Look at that. That looks absolutely fantastic. I reckon we're almost done. Gonna pull off one of these apples. Just want to see if this is done. That'll be a good test. Oh. Oh, that looks like absolute perfection. That one's falling apart there. That one's our apple sauce. Pull off a potato, see how this looks. As I said, that's our mashed potato. It's looking perfect as well. And last but not least, pull off this pork crackling. It's only about 1 kilo, but I think that's going to be enough, to tell you the truth. I don't know if you can hear that, but that sounds really good. Perfect. It's been cooking for about 3 hours now, so I think it should be right. I'm going to sample it anyway, and if it's not right, I'll chuck it back on for a bit more. Got my fork there. Pull out my trusty little knife. Take this bit over here. So good. absolutely perfect. Oh. Let's try a bit of that crackling. That's crunchy, juicy. Pork belly's turned out absolutely magic. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Apple sauce is just fantastic. I don't know if you can see that, but that's just mushing up really, really nice. And then here we've got the mashed potato. Oh, that's perfect. Well, I didn't know if this was going to work out, but it actually really has. Nice and soft, nice and mashy. Apple is just perfect. That's stewed away nicely. And I've been wanting to try this Woodford Reserve Bourbon with it as well, so. All these flavours are just going together so well. The bourbon, the apple, the potato, all slow cooked. This crackling is just fantastic. The meat is nice and moist and juicy. I'm not going to talk for any longer. I'm really, really happy with the way this has turned out. I haven't even tried the onions, but they look really good in there as well. I'm going to pull them out, use that as a bit of gravy, pour it over the top, and we're just going to have an amazing lunch. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week for some brand new content. Cheers.